So it is currently Thursday, and here on the East Coast, we are just getting prepared for Hurricane Fiona. She is supposed to hit on Friday night into Saturday and Sunday, so that usually means I'm going to have a long weekend. I'll probably work tomorrow morning, and then I will be stuck inside for the next 3 days. So I currently live on a peninsula. I live right next to the city. If you have ever been to Halifax, that's where I live, and my brother lives in Dartmouth, so just across the bridge. So I'm probably gonna go there for the weekend as we bat down the hatches and spend time with my two brothers. So I'm currently packing a stack of books that need to last me 4 days. So let's talk through what I have picked through. So this looks like an intimidating stack, but some of these I'm gonna bring on my Kobo. So the first one I have is Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. I just thought this would be really fun. This is what I've been trying to get through all summer, but I thought a hurricane is the perfect sort of ambiance to finally get this one going. I'm also currently rereading Babel by R.F. Kuang. I just started my reread today, so I'm only like 30 pages in, but it's just good dark academia vibes. I also have The Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead. I'm not too sure what this one is about. I know we follow two different storylines between two different women, and one of them is trying to fly around the world, and the other one is 100 years later, and she is playing the first perspective in a movie, and we're following both women. And I've only heard good things about it. Next, I have The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. This is the sequel to Once Upon a Broken Heart. I really liked that one. It's basically just nonsensical teen fantasy. I had a really great time with the first one, so I'm excited to read book 2. I read book 1 in like a 24-hour span, so I feel like this one's going to go really quickly, just in a blink of an eye. With no power and nothing really to do, I foresee this one just me making my way through it so quickly. And then it wouldn't be a weekend inside if I didn't have a murder mystery, and I thought I would do the Thursday Murder Club finally. I have book 2 and book 3 just came out, and I've been wanting to start this series for a while. From what I understand, a murder takes place in a retirement village, and we are following a group of seniors as they are part of the Thursday Murder Club. They get together and talk about unsolved murders, and when a murder happens in their very own village, they have to sort of band together to solve it, which sounds adorable and so fun. I've heard great things that like the murder mystery aspect is okay, but that the cast of characters is what really makes you fall in love with this series, and I am a sucker for characters. So I think this will be right up my alley as a cozy mystery. So that being said, this is my stack. This one, I think I will leave the physical book here. I have it on my Kobo, so I'll only be bringing these 4 to my brother's house, but my sister-in-law is also a crazy avid reader, so if I get bored, I can always pivot there, but I'm really excited for all of these. I'm also going to be bringing Pokemon Arceus. It's the last Pokemon I have to beat before the new one comes out in November, and then I can pivot if I need to and play Breath of the Wild, as we finally got a release date for the sequel to Breath of the Wild, and it's going to be May 12th, I believe, of next year. So once I beat Pokemon, I can finally make my way through Breath of the Wild. I probably have to restart it because it's been so long since I've played it, but I really enjoyed it when I started it, and this just got distracted by life and reading, but I'm gonna bring my Switch as well and have some fun. Also, I realized I haven't checked in since I changed my hair. But I did change my hair. I went back to my natural color. I'm naturally kind of like a dirty, dusty blonde. And I just wanted to go back and do the natural thing for a while. So that's what we're doing. And maybe I want to pick up the murder mystery right away. I don't know. I'm gonna start reading something as I pack a bag for the weekend and pack all my animal stuff up and just get ready. Just get ready for the weekend and close up, bat down the hatches here because we will be gone. Get the sub pump ready, all of that. Okay, so we have made it to my brother's house. I had a little change of pace of what I was bringing. If you hear scuttling, we have my dog, my brother's dog, cats, a guinea pig. It's a real zoo here. But I'll actually just turn you and show you because most of it's the same, but I left the book I was reading by Richard Osman. I left it at home. So had to pivot a little. So we're just in the basement and we've put Theo there. But so I have 2 Kobos. This one I just thought someone might want to read. But here I have The Mad Ship and Hamnet. My library hold came in, so I can always read that. The Great Circle, Ballad of Never After, Babel. So these are the 3 that I was already reading from home. I left the murder mystery at the house accidentally, but I did work this morning, so I grabbed Twisted Love by Anna Juan. I heard good things about this one, but a customer came to pick it up in preparation for the hurricane, and she was grabbing it for her sister, so she sold me on it. And then Colleen Hoover's Verity, because I've heard that's a really good like thriller that I can just zoom through. But work for sure. We just got the emergency alert saying everybody stay indoors, all of that by tonight. So we're all hunkered down in here. I have my Switch ready. All the animals are being a little fidgety, but they're fine. And my brother will be here shortly. And then we're just gonna have a cozy weekend. We will for sure, work shut down, whole city shut down. So we will get lots of reading done, I foresee. But I'm going to choose a book to start, and I'll update you when I actually have something to say. Good morning. So it's Sunday. I have to be a little bit quiet because everyone's still sleeping. But yesterday was a lot of fun. We got the generator going. We were still without power all day this side of the bridge. So I got a lot of reading done. We got the generator going and then just spent the day playing games with each other. I was a sore loser in Monopoly. I'm not over my lose yet, but that's another story. I'm going to update you on my reading. So I finished 2 books and I'm halfway through a 3rd. So I finished Twisted Love. A little bit about this story. So we're following a young girl as her brother moves out of the country for a year to do some volunteer work, and as he moves out of the country he asks his best friend to please keep an eye on her. That's the basis of the story. The 2 of them fall in love. I wound up not really enjoying this, to be honest. The love was just a little too toxic for me, and I am finding with romance especially, you have to be really careful. A lot of the love can fall into a very like toxic sort of uber masculine trope, which is just not for me. But I will say something to the credit of this story was it did have like content warnings in the beginning, which I love. And then the second book I started and completed was The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. This is the sequel to her first book, Once Upon a Broken Heart. I really enjoyed this. This, I do like to explain, is kind of like a fever dream where it's a lot of fun. You will not get bored reading this series, but it also is a little bit nonsensical. So we're back with Jax and the Prince of Heart and Evangeline Fox back. I don't want to give away too much because I feel like the plot of this is very reliant on how the first book ends, but I would say I liked it just as much as the first. I had a great time and the ending really hooked me to where I really want to know. I don't know that it's officially been announced if there is going to be a book 3, but I think there probably will be. She can't leave us like this. And then lastly, I am halfway through Colleen Hoover's Verity. This is a one I'm really enjoying right now. So we are following an author who basically gets signed on from her publishers to finish out a book deal from a more popular thriller writer for unknown reasons that are not brought into light right away, but she travels to the house, discovers that this very popular thriller writer is currently injured, and she has to take on the mantle for the last 3 books, but is lucky in the sense that this best-selling author keeps very diligent notes. So she basically has to go through this office looking through all the notes written for the end of the series, and as she traverses through all of the notes, she finds a diary and discovers that this writer, with her husband and 3 children, it all just might be a bit more sinister than what she was originally anticipating, and maybe there's a reason that this best-selling author writes so well. So I am really enjoying this thus far. Everybody's still sleeping, so I've just made a cup of tea, changed for the day, and I have every intention of finishing this book, and then we are going to hop back over the bridge into the city and go check out our house, and hopefully there's no real damage, because we were lucky this side of the bridge, so I'm just hoping luck stayed with me and my house is still intact, but we will see. Alrighty, I am back at home. The house has been assessed, not too much damage, and I just finished Verity by Colleen Hoover. I really enjoyed this one. I already gave you a brief kind of synopsis about what it's about. I don't want to say too much past that, but I do want to say that there's a couple of twists. You get a twist like 3/4 of the way through, and then you get a twist right at the end. Both of them are equally good, and it is one of those thrillers that I think Colleen Hoover does something really interesting, where it is kind of you choose to believe the ending, so you kind of get to make up your mind, or just really kind of put your hands in the air and go with the decision that you don't really know what happens. But she did a really great job with this one. I really enjoyed it. I zoomed through that. So that is book number 3 for the weekend, which leaves me really with one more physical book to go. I don't know that I'll finish this, but I'm gonna give it a good go. It is The Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead. I don't know too much about it, so I'll get a little ways in before I film an update, but the house is okay. We're currently without power, so it's very chilly in here right now. I think I'm going to take a little break from reading and play a little bit of Pokemon before I keep going. And then I do have the Robin Hobb's Live Ship Trader Trilogy for Kobo, so if it gets too dark to read and the power hasn't come back on yet, I always have that I can go to. But for now, I'm gonna keep going. I'm excited for this, and I've heard a lot about this, and I believe it was shortlisted for the Women's Prize Fiction. We took a quick break to get pumpkin spice latte, which is a staple as it's fall, but I realized now that I'm back home, the book I forgot, The Thursday Murder Club, I can continue. So I just read one more chapter in that, and now I'm gonna get started on The Great Circle. It's very cold in here without the heat, so I officially have a latte, and I think I'm gonna start The Great Circle, but this one really is calling to me. It's a little breezy outside, all of the leaves are turning yellow and orange and red, and cozy like mysteries always call to me, but I think I'll start The Great Circle because it's been on my radar for a while, and what better time. Okay, I think I'm just going to continue this vlog into the week because I realized I didn't actually film that much this weekend. I was just having too much fun with my family. So I wound up picking up The Thursday Murder Club. I did read 50 pages of The Great Circle. It's currently sitting in my room at my bedside table, but I did read 50 pages of that. I'm really enjoying it thus far. It hooked me right away. Any kind of female-led general fiction story that is about like women breaking boundaries and stuff like that is right up my alley. So we have a really interesting juxtaposition between these two female characters right off the hop. So I'm interested to see where that goes. And then I'm reading the Thursday Murder Club still. It's like downpouring outside, so it's the perfect day for a cozy mystery. So I'm just gonna have my lunch, watch a couple episodes of Love Island, and then hop back into the Thursday Murder Club, and I will update you once I've done some reading. But I wanted to come film while I look like a person because I had to work today. And I feel like all weekend I just look like a big toe. But sometimes I look okay. Hello, it's day 2 of me coming on here and actually looking like a person, which is very nice. I just got off of work. It's a Tuesday, which every book lover knows means it is new book day. And boy, this is a big one. So I will talk you through 3 new books I got, but also welcome to my chaotic reading style. I'm very much like kid in a candy store, and I have absolutely found in the middle of the Thursday Murder Club, which I'm loving, I'm gonna switch right away because it's a new book. I can't help myself. So number 1 is The Golden Enclaves. This is book 3 in the Scholomance, lesson 3 of the Scholomance. So book 3 in Naomi Novak's series, which I have loved. I loved book 1. I loved book 2, and book 3 is out. This was actually a surprise and was waiting for me. It was a pre-order I did so long ago that was a really nice surprise to wake up to today. So I'm gonna hop right into this. Don't even need to hold for anticipation. This is the book I intend to start and probably complete today. The next book I got is book 3 in a series again. This is Kingdom of the Feared. This is book 3 in the Kingdom of the Wicked series, maybe. This is something I think I'm gonna try and save for October. We're almost at the end of the month here, and this would be great for spooky season. We're following, in book 1, we are following a young lady as she discovers that her twin has been murdered, so she has to travel into the depths of hell with the 7 princes of hells, basically to seek revenge. So really, really enjoy this series. It's a lot of fun, and surprise, surprise, book 3 came out today. And then a little bit of a detour, but we have Frederick Bachman's The Winners. If you've been on my channel long enough, you would have been here when I discovered Frederick Bachman and promptly read like his entire, just everything he's written. And one of my absolute favorites that I read from Frederick Bachman was Beartown. I can't remember what book 2 was called. I want to say it's called Us Against You, but I'm a little too far from my shelves to be able to tell, but I believe it was Us Against You. This takes place in that same world. Now, I would like to jump into this right away, but I can't quite recall what happens in Us Against You. I remember Beartown like the back of my hand, so I might have to do a quick reread, but that is that for my plans for today. I'm going to pick up this right away. Again, welcome to my chaotic reading style. I get a lot read in a month, but I read things so chaotically and on a whim. It's why I tend not to vlog my reading that much anymore. But I'm done work for the day, and I have tomorrow off, which will be quite nice. So I am very excited to jump right into this. I just had my meal, so I am going to hop right in. Book 2 ended on such a cliffhanger. I'm so excited. This is such a polarizing series. I feel like people either love it or they can't stand it, but I am definitely the first. Oh, I'm so excited. I love surprise. I love when time just gets away from you and you wake up and suddenly it's release date and you didn't even remember, because I'm really big on pre-ordering. It happens probably a few times a year where I just wake up and before I know it and before I even realize it, there's a new book waiting for me from something I've been waiting for. So that's so exciting. So I'm gonna hop into it. And it's so like all of the leaves are changing outside. It's another rainy day. So it's just perfect weather to curl up. I just made a cup of tea. I'm gonna wrap myself in a blanket and put on some Love Island and get reading. I'm so excited. Okay, it is the next morning. It's like 6 a.m. and I finished the Golden Enclaves. Started and finished it last night. I enjoyed this. I think I'm gonna give it like a 3.5 out of 5 stars. If you followed me for a little bit, you know, book 1 got 5-star, book 2, or I think book 1 got 4.5, book 2 got 4. This will be a 3.5. That being said, I did really enjoy it. So I can't talk too much about it because it would give spoilers for the first 2 books of the series. But basically, in this one, we're out of the academic setting and we're more into the magical world now that these kids are out of school. And we're exploring a little bit of the enclaves in the different cities. So we go to New York, we go to London. So I did really enjoy that. I do think the lower rating was probably just because we were out of the school setting, and I love a magical school setting. I will say again, this series can be quite polarizing because of the writing style. Naomi Novak is a bit of a chameleon with writing styles, and with this book specifically, with this series, it's very info dumpy. It's very like besides the point kind of stream of consciousness from our protagonist, who's also our narrator. But if you can adapt to that style, I quite enjoy it. I feel like I can get in our protagonist's head, so I don't mind it that much. But that's that book 1 and done. I think I'm going to pick up Kingdom of the Feared next, and just that will be another one I can probably just start and finish in a day, call it a day. But I just crawled out of bed to give that little review, and now I'm going to pick up my next book. Okay, I'm back. I'm alive. I've woken up and I have spent the morning reading, or starting rather, Kingdom of the Feared, and I am 93 pages in. I'm enjoying it thus far, but unfortunately this is one of the books, just like the last one, that I really can't even disclose what the plot is about without giving away basically everything conducive that we learn in book 1 for the plot reveal in book 2. Because this book specifically starts maybe a couple of hours after book 2 finishes and we get that sort of plot twist. So I will say I am really enjoying it. It's a little bit slow picking up. There's a lot of like relationship-y things that are happening, like romantic relationship-y things. So the plot is taking a little bit to get going, but I feel like that was kind of similar in book 2, where it took a little bit to get going, but it's teen, so it reads really quickly. I am going to grab some breakfast and pour myself my first cup of coffee for the day. It is a full day of just lounging around because I'm not quite feeling myself today. So I intend to go full self-care, which definitely means coffee. It definitely means reading, and it certainly means trash TV. So I'm very excited to get this day moving. So first cup of coffee, and I will check in again when I finish, I think, because I can't really update as I read. I'll just check in with my kind of final thoughts about the book. Well, it is 12:30 and I just finished Kingdom of the Feared. This wraps up the trilogy. It looks like it is just going to be the 3 and then done. I actually wound up really enjoying it here at the end. It was a lot of twists and turns. About halfway through, I couldn't quite figure out where this was going to go, but we learn a lot more about witches' heritage and lineage and how all the different facets of this fantasy are intertwined. So the witches, goddesses, Princes of Hell, we kind of figure out in this how they're more intertwined, and I really enjoyed it. But yeah, it felt like a very final ending. I do feel like they left a crack in the door for a sort of spin-off dealing with other characters and perhaps other princes, but for now, with the two lead characters, the Prince of Wrath and Emilia, I feel like this was a great finish to their story and my favorite cover thus far, but I really enjoyed it. I think I said I was leaning a little bit lower for a rating, but I really did pick up at the end. So I'm really happy with that. But that being said, I'm going to take a small break from reading and have another cup of coffee and play some Pokemon, play a little bit of the Switch, watch a little bit of BookTube, and then I think I'm going to keep going with the Great Circle and the Thursday Murder Club. But so far, 2 books done for my day off, so I'm pretty happy with that. September has been a really strong reading month, which is what I've needed because I had a couple of really slow months there. I feel like I almost hit a slump, but I feel very much back at it now. Alrighty, it is officially Saturday and I just wanted to check in as it's October 1st, so we're done with the reading vlog, saying that I did finish I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. This will be probably my October wrap up because I technically finished it today, but I picked it up at work. I forgot my book at home and I picked it up and I just couldn't stop reading it. I am obsessed with this book. It was so heartbreaking and amazing. I find child actors in general just fascinating, how we treat them, how we're dealt with, how they're dealt with, what kind of rules and regulations they don't have to follow. Just like that as a base, I find really interesting, but a reflection of an adult and the relationship, not just with the networks and the work and themselves, but also the relationship with their parents and the dynamics of like momagers and stuff. I just found really interesting, and this was a very unflinching reflection of her childhood. And if you haven't picked it up, and I know it is so popular right now, it took so long for me to even get my hands on a physical copy, but I would really recommend you do so. This was 5 out of 5, one of my favorite reads of the month, and a great way to finish out September / start October. I really, really enjoyed this, and this might actually make its way up to one of my favorite books of the year. Really great job. Total surprise. Didn't know what I was getting into when I picked it up, but really, really, really amazing. And I intend to dedicate the rest of my afternoon looking up interviews, and I know she's kind of done the circuit to talk about this book, so I want to see if she has expanded a little bit more on anything that she says in here, because it certainly made me look at some childhood shows a lot differently after reading this. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching and joining me on my reading week. I will see you guys in my next video.